But we do see a sudden emergence of people. And a lot of these people at World's Fairs dressed very well and seeming very dumb. And really, the whole idea of the World's Fairs is pretty ridiculous. There's no way people are traveling in the late 1800s across the world just for some stupid fair. You have to take a boat, you have to use a horse and buggy to travel across the land, which could take weeks or months. And really, from the pictures we see, these fairs didn't even look that interesting. But we do have clues. There is almost no children at these fairs, all adults. And then what else we see is baby incubators being displayed and giving away, in some cases raffling away, babies. And what a strange display to see at a fair. A display of babies without their parents around, and oftentimes selling and raffling them off. Very strange. So this lends to the question of what happened after the event. Now, I showed a video, I think I called it the Reset Passport, and we look at a passport that was issued at a World's Fair, and it looks more like a driver's license or a passport rather than a World's Fair. And I had hypothesized that perhaps these people were coming out of these buildings. Perhaps they were not going to the World's Fair. Perhaps they were leaving the World's Fair, as these were grand and glorious buildings beyond the abilities of construction in that time, beyond the needs of the fair goers. And what it really seemed like is these people were coming from these buildings, perhaps underground, and unclear as to why the thousands upon thousands of orphanages, and again tied in with these baby incubators, and the shipping of orphans from country to country, really making no sense all through the historical narrative. Shipping orphans all over the place. And we really do see a repopulating, an effort to repopulate these fully built out cities found all throughout this realm. And of course, the inheriting of all of these buildings. Clearly there were adults. Clearly there were people who were spared from this event, either by accident, but more likely by design, as they seem to have a plan. The first wave of controllers, and perhaps not the controllers, just acting as the hands of the real controllers. Perhaps those who spared the lives of these controllers. And I always reference the Native American Hopi and their reset story, that they were brought underground by the ant people in the last cataclysm, and they survived this cataclysm and were saved by a people, or maybe not a human people, called the ant people, seeming very alien-like to me, but nonetheless a clue. Again, couple this with all the underground passageways found everywhere, with no exception. Whole cities under the earth, and tunnels and passageways connecting them. So clearly somebody is in the know, some people are spared, and there seems to be a repopulating. And another question, did some groups of people just happen to live in areas that were not destroyed? This must absolutely be true, and certainly there are regions in our realm in which we are not even allowed to explore as free human citizens on this plane. One being Antarctica, and we are not allowed to visit this region. And perhaps this is a safe haven in times of reset. The mass itself sits high above sea level, and also regions in the north. We really have little say, and we are very helpless. For many of us, it would be very difficult to even go to Greenland, as I would like to. But yes, there are probably areas they would have had to have been repopulated as well. Not very likely that they would stay put through all of this and fare any better than the humans. And of course, going back to the Bible story, this is a good time to bring up Noah's Ark and the idea that someone was looking after the animals. Not sure if any party was responsible for this destruction, or if it's a natural cycle. And as far as how did the rulers take over, probably pretty easy. When you're the top dog after such an event, you know more than the rest, and pretty easy to create a new system that others will follow, educating children, essentially, on a false history, and the rest is history.